Am I fooling myself we have a future still? Hi everyone. I honestly just want a space to get my thoughts out and maybe create a discussion and gather advice around my current situation. To be somewhat short, I was broken up with by the person that I thought was my one about 9 months ago. Now, I think this situation is complicated and tricky, so I will try to provide as much context as possible. My ex-girlfriend and I originally met in our undergrad in 2018. We were both dating other people at the time, but still we spent a little too much time around each other. Looking back, we realized we both really liked each other but never acted on our feelings other than hanging out a little bit too much to study on campus. Looking back, this was certainly emotional cheating in hindsight on both of our parts. I suppose this is somewhat relevant later. Going on a couple years later after our undergraduate degrees and while we were both single, we both were working at our respective companies in different cities but reconnected over Instagram. I visited her in her city and really the rest took off from there. We certainly enjoyed each other's company and were in the new love phase where we just couldn't get enough of each other. Shortly after, she asked me to be her boyfriend and I agreed. However, she definitely felt a bit more attached than I did. While I was growing feelings step by step, it felt like her feelings exploded onto the scene and was absolutely infatuated with me and put me on a pedestal. In hindsight, but I did not communicate at the time. This really scared me and I didn't want to say that I wasn't at her level yet because I didn't want to crush her but felt my feelings growing fast. We continued dating, however. I think this period of our relationship was something that always stuck with her. Fast forwarding through our relationship, we stayed long distance all the while we were trading off seeing each other and visiting each other's homes to spend time together, sometimes a month at a time because of WFH. Still, I felt my feelings growing and felt like our relationship was growing too. Things were not perfect but we were still inseparable. I remember during this time that things were a bit unhealthy because of the hot and cold nature of our relationship. Everything seemed always perfect in person, but when we went long distance, she really needed constant reassurance and affirmation. Looking back, this was probably sort of a red flag, but it is definitely one that I ignored readily. Nonetheless, I don't think I did a particularly good job in reassurance. I definitely did the best I could, but sometimes I would miss her calls where I would be doing something else and she would feel a bit neglected. To be honest, at the time, I was definitely avoidant and can't communicate as fluently as I do now, but I tried to fulfill her needs the best I could, even if I was imperfect. In hindsight, she really struggled to be with herself and needed me to sort of fill that void as a codependent partner. The next big event was that I chose to move to Boston to live closer to my sister instead of moving to her city as my job was still remote. This greatly affected my ex at the time, and is also something I think she resented me for. My thinking at the time was a lot of fear of moving just for my ex after just a year. I thought that if we would break up, I would have to move somewhere else again. I did love her, but if I am comparing it to my feelings deep in the relationship, I was not close to that level yet. In hindsight, I really do wish I chose differently, but knowing where I was at the time, I do think it made sense and again was not communicated effectively by me probably, seems to be a trend. About a year later, we both were interested in attending grad school. This was a super exciting time because I communicated that I was ready and wanted to go to the same school. I would say at this point I loved her about 80% of how I feel right now. She felt the same and we were cautiously excited for our future. As fate would have it, she got into her dream school and I was not able to get into that same school, but another really good school far away. In the end, it was sort of an all or nothing thing for me to get into her school, so this really sucked. She did get into my school but for a not so great program. I really did understand this and supported her going to the better school to live her dreams. Yet, this really tore at us because I was all in and ready and thought that we could give this a chance. We decided to try long distance because we were really committed to each other, but perhaps that proved to be a mistake. We still were able to visit each other when possible and, again, always had a great relationship when in person but struggled with the distance. I think things really turned for the worse and brought up many things like me moving to live with my sister and how I did match her energy early in the relationship and said that she felt like I didn't love her. I really tried and tried, but it's almost like I was just too late for her. We spent the holidays together and that was the last time that we'd be together as boyfriend and girlfriend. We sort of continued the same routine next semester, but I could tell that she was really getting tired of it, and honestly I was also getting extremely mentally exhausted by always hearing how I wasn't enough. I swear she is the sweetest and nicest person, but I would just always hear how I wasn't meeting her needs, and we broke up a few times but would still talk. Around the time of spring break, she mentioned she was going on this trip. She mentioned the people who were going and one of the guys was definitely not in her immediate circle and seemed like a strange addition. I remember questioning this at the time, but she quelled my worries and wished her lots of fun. Probably also a red flag in hindsight. She went on the trip and seemed to have a great time. I gave her space and we texted occasionally. Shortly after this, however, she called me and broke up with me. I was in a massive of in shock at the time and just shut down. I didn't say this earlier, but this was a trend when things got really emotional or when I was feeling really down on myself on how I wasn't being a good boyfriend to her, especially near the end when I felt super low in confidence and couldn't do anything right. I found out later, a week after she broke up with me, that she started dating this other guy. She said that she would say to her friends, "I just want somebody who is obsessed with me." This hurts to this day because I love her so much, and for her to feel unloved by me must have been so hard for her, but I also know how shitty this was for me too and how much pain was present. Anyhow, one day she was dealing with a family issue and called me out of the blue. I offered her support and talked with her for a few hours, and honestly my heart blossomed because it felt like old times again. From there, that really opened up our communication, and shortly after she said that she cut it off with the guy she was seeing because she was still in love with me. Yay. We were talking incessantly for the next month and I was really excited to get back together. I told her and shared how the way she handled things really hurt me, and she said that her needs really weren't being met during the relationship and all of our past missteps made her not feel loved by me. She also said that she does not have a lot of love towards herself. Analyzing this now and having gone through a lot of therapy, I realized that I took a lot of ownership of her happiness when really I shouldn't have been the main player in that, and it was unfair for me to burden that load, even if I definitely could have been a better listener, support system, less defensive in arguments, etc. I eventually think I started to get over it, but definitely was still slightly bothered, but honestly I was just over the moon to have her back. About a month later, we texted and called all the time. We, at this point, shared how much we loved each other and how excited we were to be in each other's lives. To be clear, we weren't officially in a relationship, but damn, the emotions were flying like crazy. Although, in this time, something changed. She said that something happened and that, when she visited me next, she would tell me. Obviously, this set up the anxiety bells in my head, but I really ignored it at the moment. I am not a smart man. One day, I mentioned that I would be extremely upset if she was still talking to the guy she was dating. She started to panic and really had a mood shift. I asked her, "What's wrong? Your attitude has shifted. Did something happen?" She told me that since we have been talking and confessing our love and calling every day that there were 2 or 3 occasions, however it turns out she was lying. The next time we talked she admitted that it was 4 occasions and that either they made out, had sex, or both. Obviously, this absolutely shattered me and, honestly, it still does. At first, she was super on guard and said that it was all his fault and played complete victim, but eventually did also admit she was also at fault. She still had the tone that he made unwanted advances and she acquiesced. She also said that he emotionally manipulated her and that she also was really just look for some sort of validation, even though I wanted to take her on a 4th of July trip with my friends or plan a trip of some kind together to get her mind up things. I am really just still so torn up about this and degraded my trust for her, rightfully so. For further clarity, she said something happened to me after the first occurrence and then it happened 3 more times. The soonest was something like 1 day before I talked to her. We did not speak again until a month and a half later when she visited my city. To be honest, I really should have taken time to heal, but, again, my love blinded me so much that I just wanted to be with her. It was the usual deal, so much love and things just felt right when we were together. However, she even said that she could see how much my therapy was paying off and how much better I was communicating, being attentive, actually felt really loved, all that stuff. I don't think this should be taken too much into account because it was only a week we spent together. However, from this, we talked about seeing each other every month. There was one problem. She said that she felt like at some point she probably just needed to be with herself. This sort of froze everything. Any sort of rebuilding or rekindling would not be possible. Ultimately, at that moment, I realized that she still did not love herself and maybe that she really did need to be alone. From here, I realized that she needed to be alone and I was able to accept that for a future with my love. Since then, we still talk from time to time and we both express how much we love and care for each other, but we are both on the same. Our most recent talk was about me graduating and me bringing up that I would be willing to move to her city and that I want to make it work, but we need to start building trust now before I graduate in December. Her response was that she wasn't ready for me and that she was not in a place to really make any commitment and she is honestly scared of it, stemming from how she did not feel loved in our relationship. She says that she really wants us to end up together but that she is not ready for me. I honestly think that this does make sense for her and that she does need to be happy with herself before something with us could work long term, as much as it hurts. She said that she wishes we were in the same city and could see each other and build things up slowly, but that me moving for her is too much pressure now. I think now I am sort of at a loss. We both say that we are each other's the one, which makes it so much harder to let go because I envision this future with her. I still get triggered by little things like seeing red roses in a vase on her Instagram story, wondering which guy got those for her and if she's seeing other guys right now. Ultimately, my thoughts about everything after talking to all my close friends and endless thinking is this. I think I will always love this person. I know that this person has done truly terrible things to me and treated me honestly like shit at times. However, I am just so damn stubborn and persistent and never want to give up on this person that I love so much. The hard thing is that also I don't feel like I can see anyone or give anyone a fair shot until I am over this girl, which I don't know if it can fully happen. Maybe I am just super traditional that ways and don't want to lead somebody on. I know that right now I am just in mega self-improvement mode and don't want to date or see anyone anyways. Damn, I just have such a hard time letting go. I do realize that I do not trust this woman right now, but I really do believe that she would never cheat on me in a relationship or marriage. If I was you guys, I would be like that Jackie Chan meme, I know. It is tough because honesty was what I thought one of her main values, and said that if I lied to her ever that she didn't know if she could be with me. Yet, she lied to me on the phone about the events over the summer and, not exactly but it felt like it, cheated on me. I want to make all of these excuses for her, but I really can't change her actions though either. She does not want me in her life, so she really can't be the one. It also seems like she wants something convenient for her. Logically, this is how I tell myself that she can't be the one, at least right now. Therefore, I need to let this part of me that is attached to her die and wither away. I know deep down it can only work with this person once she has become whole. However, I do fear that I will always keep the events of this past summer in my head forever. I think I can trust her again, but how can I be sure? I just want to know why I am still so bonded to this person. We are each other's first and only true loves as far as my knowledge goes. I know that I am an idiot for giving her this many chances to hurt me, and most normal people would have just moved on so long ago. I was really putting up with this terrible treatment for so long, and I do know it, logically. I do think that part of my reason for holding on to hard is that both of my parents died before this relationship, both by cancer, so I think I am really scared of losing those close to me. I think I was scared of the reality of where I am right now, truly being alone, no super close emotional bonds besides my sister and a couple friends. I am so glad I have them, don't get me wrong. But, yeah, I am stuck on this strong bond with this person, but I'm also so proud of her and love her for doing the right thing to give herself happiness long term. If all of you can give any of your advice or thoughts, I would so greatly appreciate it. Not just ones of support, but also things I don't want to hear or criticism of me. I am an adult and big self-improvement guy, so I can take it. Comment. It seems you've been through an emotional roller coaster, and it's clear you've given this relationship a lot of thought and effort. The bond you have with this person is undoubtedly strong, but it's also important to recognize when a relationship may not be contributing positively to your life. The pattern you've described suggests a cycle of highs and lows, with moments of happiness overshadowed by periods of doubt and pain. While it's natural to hold on to hope for a future with someone you love, it's also crucial to consider your own well-being and happiness. The trust issues, the long-distance challenges, and the emotional turmoil you've experienced are significant factors that have impacted your relationship. Moving on from a relationship, especially when it involves your first true love, is never easy. It's a process that takes time, self-reflection, and often, a conscious decision to let go. The attachment you feel is normal, but it's also important to ask yourself if this attachment is serving your best interests or holding you back from finding peace and potentially a healthier relationship in the future. Your experiences, including the profound loss of your parents, have shaped your approach to attachment and loss. It's understandable that you might fear letting go, but it's also an opportunity for growth and finding strength in yourself. You've shown resilience and a commitment to self-improvement, which are qualities that will serve you well as you navigate this difficult time. It might be helpful to focus on your own journey, continue with therapy, and invest in activities and relationships that build you up and affirm your worth. It's okay to cherish the love you've felt while also recognizing that you deserve a relationship that is consistently supportive, trustworthy, and fulfilling. You've already taken significant steps by acknowledging the situation and seeking advice. It may be time to consider a future where you are not bound by the uncertainty of this relationship. It's not about giving up, it's about making a choice that prioritizes your happiness and well-being. Remember, it's okay to let go and move forward.